Welcome to Tabula Rasa, bitches.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
My name is Allie. My pronouns are she, her.
And my name is Nick, and my pronouns are he, him.
And welcome to Season 2, Episode 18 of Tabula Rasa, bitches. Welcome back.
Welcome back indeed. In Tabula Rasa, bitches, your two co-hosts discuss and dissect Buffy the Vampire Slayer, a show that bonded them together so many years ago. And in this episode, we are going to be discussing Season 2, Episode 18, Killed by Death.
Ooh, oh, such a good one. So as usual, we'll do our best to avoid spoilers beyond this episode, but today we'll discuss this episode, spoilers and all. Buffy is sick with a nasty bout of flu that is going around school, but tries to patrol anyway. She runs into Angelus and is off her game as she struggles to fight him. The Scoobies have taken it upon themselves to patrol and chase Angelus off, but Buffy faints and the gang takes her to the hospital where doctors say she'll need to rest up for a few days. While delirious with the fever, she sees an ugly demon creeping through the hospital after a small boy. Another child ends up dying that night. Angelus tries to visit Buffy, but Xander faces him down in a tense confrontation. The next day, the gang debriefs about what Buffy saw, and there's a question of if the demon was merely a manifestation of Buffy's childhood fear of the hospital. This question is answered when the demon kills a doctor who is treating the children in the hospital. Buffy realizes she can only see the demon when she has the fever, so she reinfects herself with the flu, and then kills the demon just as it continues to feed on the sick children. Xander swoops in, gets them all saved, and we all have a lovely day. This summary was adapted by Buffy from Buffy Guide.
So, Allie, just to zoom out for our viewers here, we haven't recorded in a hot minute, so this is really fun to jump back in, and it was a really fun episode to jump back in with. This is one of those...
I was really excited because I was like, crap, I don't even remember what episode we're on. And then I pulled it up on our schedule and I was like, ooh, yay.
It's kind of a nice one too because it has some plot stuff, but I think it's definitely more of a Monster of the Week format where it kind of you can pick up, and so it was a nice one to ease back into things with.
Yeah, I have very distinct memories of watching this episode as a kid and being super scared, like lights on when I watched this episode.
I remember the same exact thing. This demon is a scary one, and it scared me as a child.
I would definitely put it, like, I can immediately think of the top 3 scariest demons through the course of the series, and he is definitely in the top 3.
Is it possible to say one of the other 3 without spoiling anything?
So I can describe them.
Okay.
And it won't spoil anything.
Yeah. I wonder if it's one of the ones I'm thinking of.
So this one, the one in the 4th season, that floats.
Oh yeah.
I can just name the gentleman.
Yeah.
Again, doesn't spoil anything that happens in the episode. And then I don't know the name of it. It's either 6th or 7th season, but it has these really long talon fingers and like rips off strips of skin.
That's a good one too.
This, like, kind of thing, clacky sound that it does with its fingers, and it's so gross. And it like peeks around corners, and
that one's a bit of a psychological episode too, so it gets you on a few different levels.
There's a lot in that episode that I'm pretty sure when I watch it again in like 5 years, whatever it'll be when we're still doing this show, I guarantee I'll still be scared by it because it squicks me out. I'm getting chills just thinking about it.
Yeah, the gentleman is what came to mind for me too. Oh, those are good ones. Those are good ones.
I think that's probably what comes to mind for most people. But I think I would put the creepy nails number 1, death from this episode number 2, and gentleman number 3. I think that is what how I would put it.
Yeah, I think definitely number 1, number 2, number 3 I might swap, but yeah, these are the 3 for sure for me.
Mm-hmm.
So just to jump right in, we start out in a cemetery and we kind of see from the beginning that Buffy is not thriving. She hops
She
over.
looks rough.
Yeah, she is not living her best
I mean,
life.
as rough as Buffy can look. I
I
mean,
mean,
like
she's still
I mean, like,
doing,
her hair could use a bit of brushing,
and
and she
her
stumbles a
athleticism
bit.
is still way more than mine will ever be. So,
Right, she, like, briefly stumbles when she pops over the wall.
and
Still
she
again,
runs
like you said, still
into,
better than most people are doing.
yeah, good clarification. She runs into Willow, Cordelia, and Xander, who have decided that they're going to be patrolling too, and they chastise Buffy for continuing to patrol while she's sick.
Yeah, I I love they pop around and, man, Buffy, my life flashed before my eyes. I've gotta get a life.
Yeah. Yeah, Xander is funny here. Cordelia has a really funny line too. She says, "We're all concerned about how gross you look."
But, I mean, still big that Cordy came.
Yeah, she's
I
patrolling
I
with them.
always
Yeah.
I always count just, like, her presence as, like, she doesn't go places she doesn't wanna be.
Her
Like, or if she really didn't wanna do something, Cordelia Chase doesn't do stuff she doesn't wanna do. So I even though she, like, grumbles and will always, like, make a comment or something like that, I always count it as a big sign that she cares when she shows up. That or just the fact that she shows up.
and they are all concerned about how gross Buffy looks. Probably wouldn't have phrased it exactly the same way, but that's, pretty much
Yeah,
the
you
gist of
know.
it.
Yeah, yeah. And then, of course, Angelus comes in. Oh, and so listeners, I'm at my parents' house tonight, and it was super weird because they just got a new TV that I was watching it on. And it's, of course, new 4K, 5K, whatever it is. And like the colors looked so like almost sepia.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, like totally aged it. Like it doesn't normally look that aged when I watch it. So that was definitely interesting. Yeah, so then Angelus comes in, of course, with some perfect timing as they're just talking about him. And he's like, "Oh, is you being sick is almost taking the fun out of it." And then he like hits her and he's like, "Nope, still fun." I'm like, "Okay."
Bastard.
Yeah,
So Buffy, yeah, she holds her own kind of, but mostly
for a
just gets
little
her
bit.
ass kicked. Yeah.
But team effort.
Yeah, it's a good thing
Go
the Scoobies
team.
were there.
Yeah, and they like it's a smart move. They kind of like distract him and cover him with a jacket to kind of like pull him off. And while he's like lost his bearings, Xander's kind of wailing on him for a little bit. And then Xander throws in a good quip, get lost, overbite.
Yeah. Yeah,
Or take a walk, overbite.
Xander has some really good lines here, including that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Xander, I have one moment later that I'm like, "Psh, dude, you're losing some points here. That I'll bring up when we get there. But he he shows some ovaries in this episode.
He does show some ovaries, some really tough, prolific ovaries. Good for him.
Yeah.
And I wonder if the point you're thinking of, it's prob I have some minor Xander slander as well, but I'm looking forward to getting there. So yeah, Scoobies have saved Buffy, who then promptly faints
Yep.
because she is
Have you ever
tired.
fainted?
I have not fainted, actually. Have you ever fainted?
No, there's been one or two times where I came close, like lightheaded, and I saw the spots for a sec, but I was able to like stand still, breathe, and the moment passed. But I've never like literally lost consciousness.
Yeah, I haven't either. That's gotta be a strange experience.
Yeah, and really like disorienting.
Yeah. Well,
So we
don't
catch up with
start fainting
Buffy.
now, okay?
Yeah,
Stay
no,
safe.
not it is not on the to-do list. No, thank you. Unless, some like a hot guy or, Hayden in a suit is there to like, catch me dramatically and be super worried about me. And I have like light damsel in distress fantasies. It's not very feminist of me, but whatever.
No, part of feminism is you can have whatever fantasies you want.
Also true. Also true. Yes. I
Still
don't
don't
yeah.
probably not good for your brain, so I don't recommend it, but, if one has to faint, then there may as well be a strapping gentleman there.
Well, in these fantasies, it's always like something that's serious enough that it's like concerning, but not so serious that it's like life threatening, like appendicitis or something like that. That like, Yeah, you can faint or like you're in pain or something like that, but like it's appendicitis, you'll be fine. Anyway.
Keep going.
Like Allie and her detailed fantasies. So Buffy's being wheeled into the hospital. She's obviously like kind of out of it. Um, I know it's happened a bunch with COVID, but it's still wild to think about being hospitalized for the flu. Like it sounds so extreme. I mean, I get that like the level of fevers that these people are having is very serious and stuff, but like that would still like if it happened to me, I'd be like, oh, I can't believe I went to the hospital just for the flu.
Yeah. So this is when I find with certain episodes, there's certain aspects of it that I just have to suspend my disbelief about. There's a few points about this
But it does
hospital
happen.
that
It
we
it it does happen even, like, when, like, flu season's happening and stuff, like, especially if you're not taking care of yourself, then, it's not weeks-long stays or anything like that, but sometimes they do, they pump you with some fluids, they help you overnight, they help reduce your fever,
well,
like,
you're
when it's
certainly
in
not
that, like,
staying there
zone.
multiple days. Yeah, they might give you fluids, or if you need some sort of specialized treatment, they'll keep you there. But Buffy for sure wasn't getting any of that. She wasn't hooked up to a ventilator or anything. So I think
Not a
that,
ventilator, but she was hooked up to an IV, and she was about to be discharged.
and
Um
the idea that somebody would be like, oh no, I'm still not feeling well, and they wouldn't discharge you, like, that's not how they're making decisions. So the hospital care thing is the part of this episode that I just suspended. It was very strange being in the COVID world to see people in a hospital not wearing masks. But,
Mm.
different time, right?
Mhm. Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, to think of medical professionals ever, probably ever going forward,
Ever, yeah.
not wearing masks.
Yeah, I
Like
mean, it's not a
that's
bad idea. I don't know.
no,
Mask up
no.
people,
I
why not, right?
mean, if you look at like Asian countries, they're used to it. They do it all the time, just
Yeah.
because of population density. Like any flight, any time it's like a big crowded area, they're wearing masks, and now the whole rest of the world is like, oh, I guess they have a point.
Yeah. Yeah, good call. Go ahead and do that. There was that one year we didn't even really have a flu season here in the States because everybody
Yeah,
was wearing masks.
masks and
So it,
distancing, yeah,
yeah.
because there was no nothing to spread. So, Joyce leaves Buffy's room or leaves Buffy's side, and she sees that Giles is there, and she's like, "I just wanna thank you for how attentive you've been and all the care you've shown with Buffy." And I'm like, "Okay, I've mentioned this before that, like, why doesn't Giles come up with some kind of, like, cover story? Like, some kind of like, they're in debate club or some kind of reason for why that group of people are consistently after school in the library. Like, he at no point tries to establish some kind of cover story. So why doesn't Joyce be like, why is this adult consistently around my teenager?"
We're going to see this in the next episode too. This show is just weirdly okay with adult and child relationships, and the people don't really question it. They just kind of go with
Okay,
it.
well, in the next episode, they're not okay with it.
They're no, the part that they're not okay with in the next episode is not the
Yeah, it
age.
is. Yes,
No,
it's
no,
the fact that it's a teacher and a student.
no. They're mad that that's not what they're mad at. They do not at any time in the next episode mention this was sexual assault, what was just happening.
I feel like they definitely mentioned that it's inappropriate and that it shouldn't be happening.
I'm pretty sure. I think because I just took the notes for it today after I watched this episode. I
Okay,
was
well, I still have my
pretty
homework to do, but that's one of my favorite episodes. I know it pretty well, so I am looking forward to contradicting you.
great. I look forward to it. I will still say it is also one of my favorite episodes.
Oh,
So
such a fucking good
it's
episode.
just
And I
it's
love the
just
song. I love
that.
that
Oh yeah,
song.
yeah. I noted that. Oh good. We are already kind of on the
Anyway,
same
all right.
wavelength with
Yeah,
the.
moving on. We'll discuss that all tomorrow night when we
We've
when we
totally
record.
discussed spoilers beyond this episode. Yikes! Sorry guys.
Eh,
Love
it's
you.
not that far.
So
Okay.
I had a note that
Okay.
well, okay, I had a note. I appreciate that the person in power here, the doctor, is a black woman, and I
Mm-hmm.
once I saw her leadership and continuing to stand up for her patients throughout the episode, I was reflecting that there aren't a whole lot of people of color in the show, which is not a new note, but it
No,
was just in the
no,
front of
there
my
are
mind
not.
as I was watching this.
That is very true. Um, yeah, can't yeah, nothing we can really get around that. There's no excuses. It's just true.
Yep. We got to do
But
better.
it's great. She survives.
She dies. Yeah, she does.
Black Lady
That's true.
Doctor survives, so good for
Yeah.
her. So the next
um,
note I have is a remarkable Cordelia quote. And
yeah.
folks, you know me, I rarely contradict Queen C, but she says something that is just
I
preposterous.
have to contradict her here as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's talking about how it's not that great of a hospital because a friend of hers like got some botched cosmetic surgery. And they're like, well, Buffy's not here for cosmetic surgery. And she's like, well, might as well get that thing on her face looked at. You know that thing? Don't tell me I'm the only one who's noticed that thing. No, no, I definitely do not know what you're talking about, Cordelia Chase.
You
What could you?
are indeed the only person that's noticed it because Sarah Michelle Gellar's face is perfect.
You're clearly just making it up in your own head because there's nothing. There's
Right.
nothing. I
Right.
mean, there are some actors I could tell you that like have some funky noses, like maybe they had their nose broken at some point or like whatever, but it's not it's not Sarah Michelle Gellar. She looks fantastic.
Yeah, I found my limit on taking what Cordelia says without any question, and it's when she is
Yeah.
unkind about about
I
Buffy's
mean, that's
looks.
the only other time that the only other time we've uh contradicted Queen C was another time that she was like ragging on Buffy's appearance, and we're like, "I genuinely don't know what you're referring to."
Yeah. Right, you're
So,
wrong.
yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
You can call out everybody else at I don't see it. I
Yeah.
mean, there are now and then there are some style choices that Buffy makes. At one point she has bangs and
Oh yeah.
maybe not the best choice. But
Right. You're right. Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's gonna come back. Oh, can't wait for that.
Yeah.
So, I didn't button up the exchange between Joyce and Giles. Highly weird that Joyce is just taking, without thinking about it, this very close relationship with
Yep,
the
yep.
school librarian. It is very kind how she expresses condolences for Giles' loss. I thought that was a nice moment between the two of them.
That was very, very nice. Um, yeah, yeah, just really lovely. And also it does show that Buffy's clearly talking at least a little bit with Joyce
Yeah,
about
Joyce
some of the
knew
stuff that's
what's
happening.
going on.
So,
Yeah,
and she told her enough to not just that Jenny died, but that Jenny and Giles had been really close. So clearly she's talking to
yeah.
Joyce at least a little bit, which is
Oh, that's
good
good. Love that.
to hear that.
So,
We got some definitive answer from Xander on public building because they're saying like, oh well, or should we be worried about Xander, or should we be worried about Angelus? And Xander's like, well, it is a public building; he can come in. I was like, okay, cool, stated once and for all, clear. Public buildings.
yep. So yeah, so Buffy's potentially in danger from Angelus. We this next scene, it's the middle of the night, and it's kind of unclear if this is a dream or if it's actually happening. But there's a little boy in Buffy's door, and he walks off.
They're looking creepy as hell.
Yeah, just standing there.
Head
Yeah,
kinda hung, just staring at her, and then he kinda slinks off. "Don't know why you're being creepy like that, dude."
and then it's quite the jump scare when Mr.
Mhm.
Man walks into the frame as well. Just the creepy, ugly demon,
So
and he
gross.
follows the boy off. Yeah, that demon's
Also
scary.
also interesting, I don't know if you listen to a lot of horror podcasts, but a, reoccurring figure in, reported paranormal experiences, again, like, believe them or not, but a recurring element in stories is the Hat Man. Like a shadowy figure, but you can tell it's, like, roughly man-shaped, and he's wearing, like, a bowler hat or, like, a top hat,
Oh,
which is interesting. So and he's wearing a hat, and he's wearing a
yeah,
dark
you're
coat.
so right. What is it that's creepy about? Is it that the creepy thing might be kind of human enough that's wearing a hat, or a hat's just a callback to a previous time, and that's what is scary about? You're so right that that's a thing.
I don't know what it
Is it that
It
it's
might
kind
be
of
one of those things like
proper?
chicken or the egg, or I think maybe that's the, like, gentility of it,
Yeah.
of, like, it's not just some feral beast, like, that it could be intelligent
Yeah.
and
Oh, I think you're onto
hard to
something.
outsmart. I don't know. That is a really good point of why does that make it scarier than just if he had no hat.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's apparently a reoccurring figure in, like, paralysis dreams and also, just, like, creepy paranormal encounter stories.
I've had a paralysis dream one time in my life, and it was the most terrifying thing.
I have had it was like a sleep paralysis dream, but without the paralysis. Like, I wasn't unable to move, but I woke up with the, like, certainty that someone was next to me,
Ugh.
and I had just the, like, "Oh god, oh god," and so, you have to make yourself turn on the light and everything was, of course, obviously, there was nobody in my bed, but, so gross.
Yeah, very creepy. So Buffy gets up and she starts walking down the hallway, and she starts getting. We're gonna see this throughout the episode, but this is the first time she starts getting triggered back to her bad experience in the hospital as a child with her cousin.
Mhm. Her flashback to when she was apparently brunette?
Yeah, 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 yeah. That they don't look remotely
I
similar.
mean, there's
The
something
character
in
is there, the
sort of the,
superhero.
like there's something in there in, like, the roundness of her face, because there's a degree of roundness to Buffy's face, kinda that youthful round cheeks.
Okay, if you
But,
say
yeah,
so.
it's maybe not the closest casting ever.
That's okay though. But we then see that so she's woken up and it turns out that it was a dream. And I'm really glad it was a dream because like I said, I hadn't watched this in a while, so I was kind of remembering bits and pieces, but I noticed Dream Buffy was walking down the hallway without an IV in. And I
Mhm.
was like, this is where I can't suspend my disbelief
Well,
anymore.
no,
This
because she
isn't
wakes up when
clear.
we see her
This is
wake up, she takes out the IV.
and then she then goes and just walks unattended. That
Yeah.
would be there'd be beeping and yelling and
It
but
also just squicks me out when people remove their
yeah, leave
stuff,
that
their
there, leave
tubes
that
and
there, leave that there.
stuff in movies. Ugh. I
One
I don't like it.
thought that I had that I think they do well here. The hospital is really dingy and it's creepy and it's very I don't think that this episode is a hugely accurate representation of a whole lot of hospitals, but I do think it's definitely an accurate representation of what Buffy thinks hospitals are.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
I don't know if that was intended or not. I've been in some kind of creepy older hospitals too, but
I
just
was gonna say
the
there definitely are some, like, old, underfunded, need to be updated hospitals. I
but they're all
mean,
very lit. There's fluorescent lights everywhere and nurses everywhere. I mean, as there should be to care for sick people. But I did get an I feel like an accurate glimpse of how Buffy feels about hospitals.
mhm. Yeah. Yeah. So the next day, the Scoobies are reconvening, or we see Xander has been keeping watch,
Mhm.
and Angel shows up with white roses, my favorite. How did you know? Um It's all about the recipient. Like, I would have been like, "Ooh, me? Oh, anyway." So I love this exchange between Angelus and Xander because Xander he's not just playing tough. He's not flinching. This I don't
Completely
think he's
unflinching.
bluffing. I don't
Yeah.
think he's bluffing in this. And so and Angelus says something about, "Do you really think you could stop me?" And he's like, "Maybe not, but me and the security guard and all the orderlies and stuff." And he says, "But I'm curious to find out. You game?" I just yeah, some real ovaries this episode.
And you can tell he
Wow.
totally means it too. He's ready to throw down with Angel.
Yeah, yeah, he's itching. I've been wanting to punch you for a long time. Just give me a reason.
Yeah. I like this line. He says, Xander says to Angel, "You're gonna die, and I'm gonna be there." And just the
Yeah.
rage and the Angel is also doing this thing. He we've seen it a lot with Drusilla. He gets at dudes by moving in on their women, on their quote,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
quote
yeah,
there
yeah.
as if women belong to anybody. But
Yeah,
he
like
does that,
throwing it
like
in
he
his
gets
face
under,
that like I got there first.
and now he's kind of throwing it in
Uh,
Spike's face too, moving in on Drusilla, and Drusilla's like fine with it.
right.
But yeah, it's kind of nice to see Xander. I don't know. He's like not taking the bait. He's like, you can
Mm-mm.
tell he just hates like it's moved past the sort of petty anger that would have normally I don't know. This is a
Yeah,
really
it's less
nice
about
exchange.
the guy who's dating Buffy and more about the guy who's endangering Buffy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
exactly. Yeah, that's
really great.
exactly it.
So they're on their walk. Buffy's telling them about the possible fever dream, possible real thing that she saw. And once again, Cordelia swooping in with the psych evaluation. She's like, "Are you sure you're not manifesting or
I wrote
you're
down
not
this
just
whole
like."
quote. Can I read it?
Yes, go for it.
So this isn't about you being afraid of hospitals because your friend died, so you want to conjure up a monster that you can fight so you can save everybody and not feel so helpless? Savage.
Damn. Yeah.
If I were Buffy, I'm glad that she kind of stuck to her guns here. But if I were Buffy, I would have been like, okay, maybe you're right.
Ow. Just yeah, like, well, when you put it like that, I mean, once again, people not believing Buffy, and I'm gonna throw some hands, and yeah, but so that okay, so this is the second time I have to contradict Cordelia because there's a quote that she has next that I because Giles is like perhaps some tact, Cordelia, and then she says tact is just saying things that aren't true. Pass. That's completely not what tact is. Tact is just you can say the same thing, but it's about the way you phrase it and about word choice. And tact is super important in communication and interpersonal relationships, and not enough people have it. And I don't like anyone watching this and be like, yeah, she's right. I don't have to be tactful.
Yeah, sometimes people will be like, "Oh, I just tell it like it is," and it's like, "No, you're just
Nope.
nasty. You're
Yep.
just a
You're just an
mean
asshole.
person." Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, I'm just being honest. Or it's like when someone says something stupid and like, I was joking. All right. Well, if it was a
It was
joke,
a
then we'd be
prank. It was a
laughing.
prank. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So,
The
no.
what Cordelia said, Cordelia, yeah, what was that line? Tact is saying things that aren't true or something like that.
Yeah.
No, that's what lying is. Tact
Right.
is saying the truth, maybe nicely.
Yeah. It is about word choice
Yeah.
and about phrasing things in a kind way while still saying the thing you intend to say or
Right.
still getting the same point across specifically without being mean. I always
Yeah.
think of it as like if you were out shopping with your friends and your friend tried on something that did not look good on them, instead of you saying, "Wow, you look like a whale in that dress," you say, "You know what? That's not the most flattering dress on you." It's just, it's about word choice.
Yeah. I yeah. Yeah, it takes yeah.
Yep, everyone out
No,
there
no,
listening, like,
agree with you.
tact is good.
Tact
Tact
is a
is
good thing.
good.
We like it.
Learn it, love it, live it.
So I was also gonna throw hands that were continuing to not believe Buffy. I will say, at least this time, they did agree to indulge her.
Yes. Yeah, to her face, they were like or like Xander said something about like, "Okay, let's say this isn't just a fever dream. What do we do next?" Which is great, which is great. But then the second Cordelia and Giles are back at the library, Giles is second guessing her.
Yeah, yeah.
And
So
it's Willow who then comes in with it. So really it's just Giles second guessing her. Because then it's Willow who comes in with the, well, we do also live on the Hellmouth and there are monsters.
yeah, Giles and Willow go to research at the library, and Willow pushes back against Giles' skepticism. Yeah, it's really nice to
Mhm.
see. So they also have the thought that previously in the conversation too, Buffy had mentioned the creepy doctor getting some bad vibes from the doctor who's treating the kids. She had overheard a conversation between creepy doctor and badass lady doctor. And badass lady doctor was like pushing back. So Buffy kind of had the Wiggins about him. And so Giles and Willow decide that they're going to research more into the doctor. And at the hospital, this starts the cringy exchange. So at the hospital, Cordelia and Xander are sneaking around. They're looking for clues, and they're sneaking through lockers. And they're interrupted by a security guard. So Cordelia
is a very famous actor and has been in lots of stuff.
I don't. Oh my god, I'm so bad at.
He played the thing that comes to mind for me is always he played Mozzie in White Collar, but he was also a very prominent recurring character in Sex and the City.
Oh, you're right. Paul loves White Collar. I've seen this guy now. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I mean, this is clearly definitely a younger him. Like Sex and the City probably era. White Collar is definitely later. But yeah, he's really funny. He's really great. And I think he sadly passed a couple years ago.
Oh, R.I.P. Thanks for being a creepy security guard.
And yeah, he wasn't even that creepy. I thought he actually wasn't that creepy. He was just kind of adorable. Scene. He was doing his job.
I did not like this exchange at all. They end up flirting. Cordy does her job well, that's for sure.
Cordy is doing her job, and this is where my one of two tut-tuts at Xander comes in.
Yeah, this is a Xander moment for me.
Yeah, because after they leave, she gets rid of the security guard and says, "Could you make a little more with the touchy gropey?" She was very clearly doing a distraction, very clearly,
and I don't know what else you wanted.
Her job. Like,
you mispronounced "thank you," Xander.
Right, exactly. Like, do you really think she wanted to be doing that? Like, you really think that? Yeah, I just call BS on him actually feeling jealousy from that flirtation.
Yeah, he definitely feels jealous, but it's interesting.
Oh, I'm not saying he's not a jealous person. I just really doubt that person and that situation would actually make him feel jealous.
Yeah. There's some interesting banter between him and Cordelia here, because Cordelia is like, "Oh, you're jealous, huh?" And then they somehow end up talking about Buffy, because the two of them always end up talking about Buffy, and there's something. And then Xander says to Cordelia, "Oh, so you're jealous of Buffy." And Cordelia Cordelia has made a joke about Xander looking at Buffy's butt all the time, and then she walks off and she goes, "Watch my back," and he does,
and then he does. So at least he did what he was told.
I don't know how I feel about this thrill they seem to get off of making each other jealous.
Yeah,
they like it.
I think they do. I think
they kind of
they like to hate it. Something about the contention, or just tension in general, that they seem to enjoy. I think, were they older, they're probably a group that would get into some kind of like cuckolding fetish kind of thing. Did you hear that?
I did, yeah. Hazel.
She just hates closed doors.
That's what it is. I'm surprised I haven't had somebody scratching at my door. Yeah, my dog doesn't necessarily want to be in the room with you. She's just mad when she can't be.
Well, I mean, now she's being very sweetly like curled up next to my leg. Yeah, so yeah, don't know about that relationship. But I mean, also, I guess, don't yuck somebody else's yum, if that's what you're into.
Yeah, very true.
It just sounds stressful. I don't know.
No, definitely. You're right. Yeah, you're totally right. Yeah, it sounds a little stressful to me, but it makes you happy.
Maybe
don't like check out and kind of like objectify your friends in the process, but
Right. Yeah. My next note is just satin, because Buffy has satin PJ pants.
Oh, get it, Buffy.
Love me some satin.
She is, but she's walking around and she goes to talk to the little boy Ryan, who she's become friends with, and he says, "You shouldn't be here." He's gonna come again tonight, and he's talking about death, who he calls death, and he's coloring a creepy ass picture. This is a note for everybody. If a child is drawing demonic pictures or something, just it's a do not pass go situation. Call a priest, call somebody.
I don't know. I
If
don't
my
know.
child if my child started drawing demonic pictures and was like, "Oh yeah, he's going to come again tonight."
Okay,
I would
but
be like, "We're not staying
demonic
then."
is not is see, like, demonic goes towards, like, religion and possession and, like, all of that stuff, but, like, also just monsters. Good friend of mine, author Scott Sigler, he wrote his first monster story in 4th grade.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're so oh,
In 4th
if
grade.
my
In
kid
4th grade, he was writing stories about monsters.
well, okay, there's like monsters that kids draw that are big green ugly things. And then there's this thing that the kid was draw. I would be like, there is something bad happening in my house.
I mean, I wouldn't take them I mean, maybe I would talk to them about it, but in the, like, calm, reserved, like, "Hey, bud, what's this drawing? Tell me about it." But not, like, immediate, be like, "Oh my god, I gotta put the kid in therapy." I don't know,
Oh,
kids
no,
are creepy.
I wasn't talking about putting anybody in therapy. I was talking about getting an exorcism going stat on the
See,
house because that kid's not lying.
still think that would be an overreaction. Kids are creepy. Kids say weird shit, they do weird shit. I
I don't know.
yeah.
Viewers, chime in. If your child started drawing a demon and said he's going to come again tonight, let us know how you would react. Allie would be rational, and I would say, we're going to go stay in a hotel tonight.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess maybe then I would, depends how often they said or well, the specific because I was thinking of, like, just the drawing. But if he's talking about, like, this demon specifically visiting him, like, having seen it, not just like, "I'm scared there's something in the closet," like, "No, I saw the thing in the closet. It's gonna come. It already killed my friend." Then, like, we'd be having some talks. Maybe you come sleep in the big bed tonight. But no, I would not hop straight to exorcism. No.
I am also the one who my dog coughs and I take them to the emergency vet. So
Nicholas.
my reaction tracks. Listen, I'll pay for peace of mind. Okay.
I mean, if you can and you wanna, that's also fair. But, exorcisms are definitely different than taking care of a cough. I mean, like, most exorcisms that have taken place, they die. Like, they starve you for days and pray over you, like, it's not a pretty sight.
Well, then don't be drawing demons and I won't get an exorcism on you. Stupid kid. What are you thinking?
Alright, maybe that's where maybe you call Auntie Allie and she'll come figure things out for you.
Be like, Auntie Allie,
Before you go to priest,
Nick is
call
going to Maui for the next week. I'm tapping out. You figure
yeah,
this
be
out.
like, Auntie Allie's gonna come stay with us for a bit, and let's see if what she thinks of your situation."
Okay, so I think we're back at the library for a hot second, and
Mhm.
Giles and Willow finds that Dr. Backer is indeed got a little
Sketchy.
bit of a sketchy background,
Mhm.
but okay, no, we're not jumping to clearing his name right away because
Nope.
um here's a nice moment between Xander and Cordelia that I like. Xander is trying to stay awake at the hospital. He's still sitting outside Buffy's room, and Cordelia brings him coffees and donuts. An acts of service queen.
Yes, and then he doesn't say thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, that wasn't great, was it? He gave her like a look of gratitude, but come on,
Kind of.
let's go ahead and finish that and say
T
thanks,
2
please.
words takes a millisecond.
This got me thinking, what is your love language?
My love language. So, I have trouble finding out my love language because the, quiz to find out is super obvious. Like, the
Yeah.
questions are super obvious.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I feel like it's really hard to take it impartially and get an impartial answer, but I am pretty sure And there's also what's tricky with whole love language thing is like, how do I show it versus how do I like to receive it? How I like to receive it is kind of I like a bit of everything. I do like gifts and I do like acts
That's
of service.
gifts is one of mine too. We have the worst one.
But I do really love touch. I'm a very touchy-feely person. And I do appreciate quality time. So, I mean, I feel like I'm very well balanced.
I wasn't going to get on this soapbox, but I do sometimes get on a soapbox about the love languages thing. I feel like anybody who says, "Oh, this is mine. This is my love language." That I just don't see. Sometimes I feel like they're more like cups that you need filled. You need all of
Mhm.
them, but then sometimes my quality time cup is bigger. And then
Mhm.
sometimes I'm like, just leave me alone and bring me food, please. So acts
Yeah.
of service might be bigger. I also consider myself probably more gifts than anything, but otherwise I'm like pretty, I don't
Yeah,
know.
but I do think and I think that's how I mean, that's how I feel. I'm very much like, doesn't everybody need a little bit of everything?
Yeah.
But, but I do again, I do particularly like gifts. But, like, for me, it truly is the thought that counts. Like, if you just got me something off my wish list, no no offense to anybody listening, but, like, that doesn't take as much effort than the whole thing of, like, "Oh, I saw this and I thought of you,"
Yeah, I agree.
or "I
Yeah.
remembered you said this." Like, Hayden got me a gift for Christmas that I had literally never told him about. It's something I had seen ages ago and was like, "Oh my god, I need that," but had never bought it for myself. It's one of those arc lighters. It's like a rechargeable, fluidless
Shut the fuck up. I got one of those for
lighter.
Paul.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah,
They're
they're really cool
yeah, I
and
don't know if it's just
useful.
like and yeah, exactly, and I love candles, I love lighting my incense, and, also they're great because of their length because, once the candle burns down for a while, like, it gets hard,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah, you burn your
rechargeable,
finger.
it's
Yeah.
green,
Yeah.
all of that. I had literally never mentioned this to him, and the day before, my mom had gotten one. And I was like, "Oh my god, I love that. I've been wanting one." And then the next day Hayden had gotten it from me. I was like, "Did you talk to Julie?" And he was like, "Nope, I just thought you would use it." And like that's perfect.
Yeah.
'Cause it's not huge and extravagant. Like they're probably not expensive, but it
They're
is
not.
something that I am now going to be using on a very regular basis. And it was something that
You'll
like
think of him every
he thought
time.
about
Oh.
me. Yeah, and he
Yeah.
he thought about the things that I do and something that would help me in my life. Yeah, he crushed it with gifts this year. It was all things that like he only got me one thing that was actually on my list. The rest was just stuff that like he found that he knew I would like.
Get it, Hayden.
Yeah.
I like gifts. This is quickly turning into a therapy session, Allie. I like gifts a lot, but I'm also a terrible giver, and that feels like a cruel reality.
I can help you with that. I'm a very good gift giver,
I'm
and I can
so
tell you
you
how to
are
how to be
yeah,
how to be a good
you
gift
are
giver.
really good at it.
Oh, but what I
I'm
was gonna say
really
is
bad at it. My
so
family growing up, we were the family that always wrote lists for each other
Mhm,
with exactly what we wanted, which I mean, my dad, so that's how my dad works. That is best
that
for
makes sense.
him. And I'm grateful for it because I know that I can't get exactly,
Yeah, and
whatever.
there
But
are some
yeah, I
people like
just
lists are so much better, and I still make an Amazon wish list for family members and stuff, but now I now have, like, links to Etsy pages and stuff because fuck Amazon, and yay, support small businesses.
agreed.
But on the opposite spectrum as you and me, Hayden genuinely dislikes getting gifts.
What?
Like, he knows that I'm a princess and I love gifts, and I expect him to get me gifts. I look, that's the beauty of being with someone as long as we've been together is that, like, I feel no shame and just straight up telling him, "Yeah, I want presents."
Yeah.
But his one request, like, he begged me not to be involved in Secret Santa this year, and I was like, "Mom started asking about what you want for Christmas," and he was like, "The only gift I want is no gift."
Huh.
He hates receiving gifts, he hates having to buy gifts, and he doesn't even like celebrating his birthday. Like, my family's like, "Oh, well, what if we
Oh.
just, like, gather at a bar just to, like, celebrate you?" And he's like, "I will be at a different bar."
He doesn't like attention. Okay, good to
No,
know.
exactly. So he really does just like quality time is
Mm.
is what he likes. And it doesn't
Mhm.
have to be like it could just be me watching a TV show and he's like playing games on his laptop.
Lovely.
Yeah. So there genuinely are people who it's not a bit of everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I could. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
And he likes
Mm.
touch, but he doesn't like as much as I do. Like I need to like get a nice hug about once a day.
They say hugs should last at least 10 seconds.
Yep. To release the like serotonin and stuff.
Paul really hates our 10-second hugs. He gets them. He's like, "Hi, can I go into my room and not talk to anybody, please?"
Yeah, sometimes there
But
are
they're good
times
for
that
him and
Hayden's
his
like,
silly little mental health, so I do
yeah,
it.
yeah. No, and there's definitely times that Hayden's like, oh, okay, I just walked in the door. But then there are sometimes I come downstairs and he's laying on the couch and he does the like motions with the grabby hands
Oh,
because
yeah.
he wants me to come snuggle. So it's just not always at the same time.
You know? Okay, we've devolved hardcore.
That is
So,
okay.
okay, Xander, Cordelia is an acts of service queen. Xander is clearly not a words of affirmation king or even a basic gratitude king in this moment. Dr. Backer walks out of his office. He goes down the hall. Buffy's watching him. I will again say patients are 10,000% not allowed to just be rooming, but that's okay. He goes into the kids' ward and puts something into the kid's IV, and there's a laugh behind him or some sort of sound, and he just starts getting wailed on. He gets totally mauled. And
Yep.
Buffy actually gets her ass kicked a little bit too by the demon.
Yep, and she sees the doctor get dragged away, and then they're convening the next day, and I wrote down her quote, "But it's real, which means I get to fight it."
Yeah, so they debrief about how Dr. Backer, he might not be great, but he's not evil.
Yeah. And honestly,
And
in the different light, like clearly this was an unauthorized kind of experiment that he was doing on the kids with this stuff. So it's like turns out so he was breaking rules, but he was doing it for the good of people. It's kind of that
was it
like
breaking rules? I couldn't tell if it was
well, I was
not.
more thinking about like the stuff that they found on his record where
Yeah.
he was like doing
I didn't write down
experimental
the
stuff.
exact.
I
I
didn't
didn't realize that was
write
what it was.
exactly down it either, but, like, listening to his record, it was stuff that, like, yeah, on paper, it sounds really bad, but maybe if you got the full story, it would sound like wrong thing for the right reasons.
Oh, interesting.
Because it does
Hmm.
look sketchy. It's sort of he's sort of experimentally dosing these kids with a bit of I mean, he's basically giving them a vaccine or trying to, like,
Yeah,
inoculate
that's what
them a
it
little
made it
bit.
sound like. Yeah. Probably don't do that unauthorized.
Right, exactly, that's what I think. It kinda sounded like it was unauthorized.
Yeah. Hmm.
So, yeah,
I
not
like some
really good.
vigilante stuff, not when it comes to medical stuff in kids. Unless it's performing exorcisms on them. And then if they
And then
have
you're totally fine with it.
drawn demons, yeah, then I'm in full support. There, it comes full circle. We
And
got back to it.
we get this lovely exchange about playing doctor. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
Willow's saying
Willow's
that she
so
has some medical
innocent.
knowledge because she and Xander used to play doctor all the time. Xander's like, no, 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 no. She didn't know how to play doctor. She like would actually diagnose me. And Willow says, wrong. Why? How did you play doctor?
And Buffy says, I didn't. And then Cordelia just gives this a look to her, too. And in
Yeah.
that look, I was taking to mean that Cordelia played
Really played
And then
doctor.
Giles is just so uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Although we know he's done some stuff. It wasn't doctor, but he's done
True.
stuff. Did you ever play doctor?
No. No, absolutely not.
I don't think I played doctor. So there was one I remember being told about because I don't actually remember this. I was told about one day at daycare. The daycare lady came back because it was at her house, and basically the playroom was in the basement. So she came downstairs to find me and this other boy. We were the same age, naked and with marker like head to toe.
Oh,
We'd just been like
no.
drawing on each other.
Oh, no.
But I mean, I don't think there was anything sexual about it. I think it was more just like I don't know. These are our bodies. I don't think it was anything about like sexual, but it
You
was
were
like, yeah,
coloring each
we
other.
had
That
been
is so
drawing on each
funny.
other, and I do believe we were both naked, but we were also like both in single digits, so it was not.
Right. Yeah,
But
I
I
know
don't think it
that's
had any. I don't think we were doing
wasn't playing
anything
doctor. That's a
doctor.
little different.
It was
Yeah.
it was definitely not doctory.
So they have this little doctor exchange, and then they start wondering why Buffy can't see the demon anymore. And
Mhm.
as they're discussing it, Joyce walks in on the secret meeting, and Joyce said, and she calls it that. She calls it a secret meeting, which is funny. Joyce knows,
Uh-huh.
and so Joyce says, "Oh, good news. I can take you home." Buffy says, "No, no, I have to stay," and everybody falls into it. It's a good Scooby aligning behind the story moment.
Yeah. Yeah, and once again, if they just had a cover story, I think stuff would be a lot less awkward. But anyway, so they're divvying up work afterwards, and Giles almost says like, "But why do I have to go with
Yeah,
her?"
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
and I love that Cordelia goes, "Let's go, tact guy."
yeah. Nobody wants to have the job with Cordelia.
Yep.
So Ryan is
Oh,
watching the secure.
oh,
Go
I
ahead.
almost forgot. I have to tell you this story about Ryan.
My brother Ryan.
No, about Ryan in the show.
Oh,
I really should have looked up the actor's name, but I am only 3 degrees away from him, or 2 degrees away from him, because the kid who played Ryan, he and his brother did gymnastics with my brother.
what?
Yeah. So
What?
I like saw him because they separated the girls and the guys. So I saw them when they went out to their, to their lesson or session or whatever. But yeah, he and his brother took gymnastics at Columbia Gymnastics.
What?
And this was post Buffy, like, so we knew the episode, we knew.
That is so cool.
Yeah, he said Sarah Michelle Gellar was really nice.
Oh, that makes me so happy.
Yeah. So just, like, so random, but apparently he lives in
Wow.
Maryland. I don't know if he's from Maryland or whatever. I don't know how he got cast. Yeah, I don't know anything but that. I just know that, like, my brother was in his gymnastics class.
That is such a fun fact, Allie.
Yep. Yeah, yeah, pretty wild.
Wow. I wonder if he has kept acting or anything.
Again, definitely should have looked it up,
So
but I did
they
not.
probably filmed in California.
That would be my expectation.
So, so man, that is wild that life's events played out such that this kid filmed Buffy, moved across the country, went across country, did gymnastics, and did
Mhm.
gymnastics with other devoted Buffy fans.
Right. Who
Wow.
happened to be also that young
The
and
same
watching
age.
Buffy. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Allie, my mind is blown.
Yep, so had to make sure I said that.
That is very cool. Thank you for making sure you said that.
Absolutely. I have very
Okay,
few claims to fame, but there you go. It's my lame claim to
that's one
fame.
of them. You have more claims to fame than that. Come on, including that you're the future Black Cat.
Also true.
So Buffy and Willow are sneaking into Backer's office, and Willow officially clears his name by finding something that indicates he was trying to help kids.
Mhm.
Cordelia and Giles are researching in the library, and there's a fun moment where Giles is irritated by all of Cordelia's questions.
And I was irritated by him being irritated by her questions because she is trying to be curious and learn, and that should always be encouraged, not sniped at.
No, I agree. It was irritating. I'm sorry. I'm with Giles on this one. Giles, write your questions down, and we'll come back to them. But I'm reading and researching. Wait. So this is trivia I found while I was doing my research. So Cordelia closes the book, and they're like, "Oh, the cover, that demon looks exactly like." But before she closes the book, she has this page out,
Mhm.
and it is the demon that Buffy and Sid killed during the puppet show.
Oh, cool.
That's a fun fact. Or it's like another, like the demon they killed during the puppet show was one of 6 or something, and it's another one of we had seen this demon before. So that was
Oh,
neat little
cool.
callback.
Cool. So we've probably they've had this book for a while.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
I
Cordelia and go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say I love that wrap top that Buffy's wearing. It's cute. It looks cute and comfy. Love it.
Oh, I wasn't paying attention. Man, as I've started taking a lot more notes, I miss outfit notes more. I have to find some way to balance it. I'll do better, listeners, not viewers. Giles and Buffy call Giles. Oh my God, I'm tired. Giles and Cordelia call Buffy and they go over kind of in gruesome detail how the kids are killed. And Buffy has another flashback to the hospital and realizes that the demon that killed Celia, her cousin, is this demon. So,
Or that just a flashback realizing that Celia was killed by a demon. She wasn't just
yeah,
sick; she was killed by the demon.
yeah,
So
yeah.
this
Talk about
time it's
triggering.
personal.
Right. She goes to take a swig of some virus that's in the fridge, and Willow says, "That's going to kill you in an instant." Right before this, Willow has this quote. She says, "How are you going to fight this thing with a 107-degree temperature?" Buffy is the Slayer, so what do I know? I did look it up. You would for sure be dead if you had a 107-degree temperature. Just to be clear, if anybody has a temperature of 103 or more, you need to go to the hospital. So
Yep.
listen, viewers.
But that speaks to why those kids were hospitalized, because they were having that high of fevers.
True. And I think kids can tolerate higher temperatures somehow. That doesn't make sense to me, but I think that's a thing.
Well, also
Yeah.
maybe it's not maybe they were having 107 fevers, but not for very long, because then, that's when they like put you in an ice bath or something like that. Like they work to bring your temperature down.
Yeah. True. Okay. Willow dilutes the virus, thank goodness, and Buffy drinks it, and somehow the effects are pretty instant, and we just don't have to think about the science here.
Yep. I don't know. I'm not my area of expertise, so I'm just going to say that was fine.
Great. And they go to now rescue the kids now that Buffy can presumably see the demon, and the kids aren't in the children's ward because they've run off.
No. Yeah, apparently there's basement access in the children's ward.
Seems like a pretty big facilities issue to me.
Yeah, I feel like that would be, off a hallway or something like that, not literally in the same room.
In the room.
In the room with the kids' beds. That seems like a problem. That seems like a no-no.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Okay, Sunny, I'll do better. So Buffy's trying to get into the kids' ward. It's locked. Security gets called in the scuffle, and Willow distracts them with this hilarious thing about
always
frogs.
On top of the distractions.
Always on top of it. Always.
And her fear of frogs. And just there's something so cute about the way she says, "No more frogs." Adorable.
So I think we get kind of like a bunch of flashes here. The kids going through the basement and the demon following, and Buffy and Xander going into the basement too. And there's a nice exchange. Xander and Buffy are getting into the basement, and he goes, "You don't know how to kill this thing." And she says, "I thought I might try violence."
I did really enjoy that. Yeah, and it's really interesting to watch Xander watching her fight him, because he can't see what she's fighting.
Yeah, I like that they included that where, he's invisible to the audience for a minute.
That was just kind of cool.
That was nice. I thought it was cool. Ryan's kind of a natural leader among the kids.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing too. I didn't quite verbalize it into a note, but I was definitely thinking like brave, very brave to not to be that young and think outside of yourself and actually formulate a decent plan. He got them far.
Yeah.
They eventually got cornered, but they're kids. But yeah, definitely already a young leader.
So the demon starts attacking Ryan and starts feeding off of him, and it is so creepy. The things that come out of his eyeballs, little sucker things.
Gross.
And luckily, Buffy smacks him upside the head, and Xander ushers the kids away.
Yep. And Buffy snaps his neck.
There's another funny quote about that.
Oh, yeah.
Between Buffy and Xander. Xander goes, "He's dead, right? I heard something snap." And Buffy goes, "That would be his neck."
Yep. Yep. And yeah, while I was watching, because when he said, "Well, how do you plan to defeat this thing?" and she's like, "Violence." And I was like, "Oh yeah, how does she end up beating him? I don't remember." And then when she snapped his neck, I was like, "Oh well, that'll do it."
Violence committed.
Hmm.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
So this last scene is really adorable.
So cute. So cute. Just a very nice normal moment of Buffy convalescing with her friends, all snuggled up together, and Joyce waiting on them. Uh getting, she's super accommodating with Buffy, and yeah, sure, no problem with Willow. And then of yep, oh yeah, okay, with
Oh,
Xander.
she was so kind. Yeah, it was so
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, they're making pretty ridiculous requests, but they're adorable.
Yep.
And Buffy gets a letter in the mail from Ryan, more artwork.
Oh, he drew
This
you
one
a
is
picture. How nice.
nice. Oh, it's really good.
Yeah, it was pretty graphic and I loved it. And it's funny because it's inaccurate, but he wasn't there when she did it. So that's okay. He wouldn't know.
True.
So
And
maybe
it
he
gets
just
the
knew.
message across. She killed him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Xander probably just passed it on. Yeah. And that's the end of my notes.
Well, my only other piece of trivia for this episode is that some sources indicate that this episode was intended to be in season 1 and they finagled the Angelus bits later on,
Hmm.
which I could see because it's one of those. It's not really story building. Oz isn't in it.
Right.
So I could see that. Seems plausible to me.
Definitely could have been in the first season. Like you said, it doesn't build on any of the story. It continues the story. But yeah, I could see that fitting in in a different season.
I actually have another closing thought, but I want to make sure about something first. I'm going to Google something really quick.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah, okay. I am irritated. There is okay, so before every episode I do a shit ton of Googling, trivia, spoilers, goofs, all of it. And one of the sites I check, I'm not going to put them on blast. One of the sites I check is a review site, and it talked about how terrible this episode is, and it
What?
gave it like a 1 in its
What?
rating scale, and that annoys me.
Is this from a site that in general likes Buffy, or do they just review everything?
No, it's Buffy. They have reviewed every single episode of Buffy and Angel.
And they don't like this episode.
They did not like this episode.
Did they
I
give
liked this
specific
episode.
reasons, or did they just give a rating?
They don't like. I think the bit that they don't like is that it kind of happens in a vacuum. We're on this momentum.
Yeah, but
and
but that
doesn't-
happens all the time in TV shows because you can't consistently keep the momentum unless you only have like a 6-episode season.
Yeah. I agree with you. This was one of those. I remember it, liking it a lot. Watched it again, liked it a lot again.
Yeah, and I like the
I don't
different
know, working
twists
through the
with
childhood trauma.
Right.
It's a genuinely creepy demon.
Yeah.
Hospital's a little dingy, but that's what hospitals are supposed to be. So,
Well, I mean, it's a hospital in Sunnydale, so
well, viewers, let us know. Where did this episode rank for you?
yeah, I'm always very curious when there's such disparate views on episodes. Cause yeah, there's some episodes, like there are some episodes that you've said like you really don't like, but they weren't my favorite episode. You didn't like the pack, but it's not like I'm like, oh yeah, pack's my favorite episode. Like I like it, but
Yeah, we have similar flavors of opinions. Mine are just a little more cutting than yours.
a little bit. But yeah, I would not have expected this to be one for contention. Interesting.
Splish
So
splash, your
interesting.
opinion is trash.
I love you so much.
I love you too. Do you want to wrap us up?
I certainly can. I think that about does it for this episode. Thank you so much for joining us for today's episode, and we hope you'll join us next time when we discuss quite possibly my all-time favorite episode, Season 2, Episode 19, I Only Have Eyes for You.
Your all-time. Come on, that's not accurate.
It might be.
Really?
It-
You like it that much?
Yeah, I think it is really up there for me.
Dear listeners, we have been on a kind of a weird holiday recording schedule, so it's been kind of sporadic, but we're recording this one tomorrow. So now I'm even more excited to talk about it with you, knowing that I knew you liked it a lot, but wow,
No,
this
it's
is good. This is going to be fun.
yeah, it's really up there for me.
Well, and friends, you're definitely going to want to tune into that episode because we are going to be welcoming an extra special guest and friend of the pod, Frances Bailey. Frances, we will talk more and gush more about how great Frances is tomorrow for us, I guess soon for y'all. But Frances is host of an incredible podcast called The Podcast Diaries. And if that podcast sounds familiar to you, it's because we were lucky enough to have another one of the Podcast Diaries co-hosts on with us earlier this season, and Jordan was brilliant and Frances is also brilliant. It's just guaranteed to be a brilliant episode, so we're thrilled to welcome Frances next time. In the meantime, if you're just too excited to wait until the next episode to chat, send us an email at tabularasabpod@gmail.com. That is tabularasabpod@gmail.com. You can also say hello to us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok at tabularasabpod. And finally, it'd be so kind if you would leave us a rating and a review wherever you listen to your podcast. They are very sweet to read. Allie, where can people find you on social media?
You can find me at DaughterPick, DAUGHTERPICK, on Twitter and Instagram. And you can find me at Future Black Cat on the TikTok. And if you'd like to toss a few bucks my way, help fund my life as an actress, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/Allie-Press. That's ALLIE, press as in press a button. And you can also just go to Venmo, Allie-Press.
Fantastic. All of those social media handles are going to be in the description. Allie, it's a treasure as always to see you, and I can't wait to talk to you tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow. And the rest of you all, I will see you on the internet. Love you all. Bye-bye.
Bye. Tabula Rasa, bitches, is hosted by Allie-Press and Nick Mercer, with music by Inflaton Cult, artwork by Charlotte Fleming Design, and consultation by Evo Terra.